Can you talk a little bit about how your books or your first book got transformed into a movie?
Sure. I, had written it in, goodness, 2004, something like that. And it wasn't until about 2008 that Unique Features approached me to ask about the rights. And they weren't the first. We had been approached by a lot of other companies. And, but I really liked them because the people who run Unique Features were also the same people who produced Lord of the Rings, which is my favorite fantasy movie series of all time. So I thought, well, if anyone could, do a good job with the fantasy, then they could. So, why not? We should really
And
do this.
I was going to the production notes, and it says, like, you always dreamt of this, that, like, it's a really honor. How does it feel, really, for you?
It does feel, it certainly feels like luck. More than an honor, I guess. Like, I feel like I got very lucky. Not that many books are optioned to be a movie, and of the ones that are optioned, not that many are made. And I really didn't believe that they would actually make it, even through the whole process of casting and the getting the director and all of that. I still thought this won't happen. And it wasn't until I walked onto the set of the movie and I saw how much they had done that I thought, this is really happening.
Yeah. And how were you involved in making this movie? Did you have any say about the cast, or?
I had actually a good amount of say about the cast. They cast Lily without me knowing about it, and I read about it online. And so then I called the studio and said, I love Lily, it's a great choice, but could you tell me when you're going to cast somebody? Because I feel kind of silly when I don't know, and all of my fans, are running around the internet and they're freaking out and they're saying, oh, is this true? Is this not true? And I don't have an answer, and they said, oh, did you want to be involved? I was like, well, of course I want to be involved, but I would never have asked because I just assumed you would have said no. And they were like, no. If you want to be involved, we'll start sending you the auditions and everything. So they put me in touch with the director of casting, and they patched me into the servers so that I could watch all the auditions. So I literally, all of the actors who were cast, they came from doing the audition process and from us watching their auditions and going, they're really great.
Yeah. A movie is always different than a book. Were you concerned about some things? Like, I really want this to be right, because you have everything in your head, and when people read it, it's always everybody has a different opinion about how something looks. How is that for you?
Well, you're right that everybody has a different opinion about how something looks. So whatever happens with the interpretation of a book, it's always going to be the director's vision, and there are always going to be discrepancies between how the director sees it and how the fans see it and how I see it. Yeah. You just can't match them up. Yeah. And it's funny to me sometimes how completely differently when people read the books they see the characters than I do anyway, Yeah. So certainly I was concerned about it, but the fact that everyone seemed to feel so invested in the books was really reassuring.
Yeah. Do you have like an example of like one of the discussions that you had with the filmmakers? Like you said, no, this is not how I wanted it.
You mean like an example of something that I didn't want that they did anyway, or an example
just like a different view?
Initially, there's a big fight scene at a hotel, like there's a vampire hotel.
Yeah.
And in the books, the characters Isabel and Alec are not there. They've gone off to do something else. And so they wanted them in the movie. And initially I said, oh, no, it's supposed to be, this big thing for Clary and Jace. Mm-hmm. That, they go and they fight these vampires together. And they do, the stuff. It's a bonding thing. Mm-hmm. And they, so we sat down and we talked about how to make it a bonding experience for Jace and Clary, and include the other characters because of the compressed nature of the film. Right. If we left them out, then we would have even less time with Alec and Isabel, and they're both great characters, and, we want to see more of them. Exactly. So I think that, the eventual product was something that made us both happy.
Yeah.